Asia. Since its discovery, this fascinating continent has been surrounded by an aura of secrecy and occult mysteries. This is due to its exotic flair, the call to provocative adventures, the prestige of ancient culture, and the ever-present wisdom of its ancestors. The southeastern ocean of islands, still inhabited by natives, provide a special attraction to tourists from every corner of the world who contaminate what little ancient tradition has managed to survive. Ignorance and tactlessness on the part of the thoughtless vacationer had contributed to the gradual decay of what was thought to be an indestructible Asian way of life. Even the last taboos, including all they should deprive themselves of, based on moral and religious discipline, will ultimately cease to exist. Taboo. A word originated among the Polynesians and related races, is defined as forbidden, something excluded from use or practice, a system whereby things are set apart as sacred. For the enlightened rationalist, there is no such thing. And materialistic Western society has no taboos, even when it comes to being considerate of the absolutely different mentality of the natives inhabiting the host country, as the following pictures prove.
Bali. A European jumbo jet delivers a new supply of tourists to the island. Even those who usually never show any exhibitionist tendencies believe that on this beautiful island with its gods, spirits, and demons, it's absolutely necessary to parade around in their birthday suits, much to the consternation and astonishment of the natives. The sacred monkey forest, a shrine used by the native women who spend their mornings praying for the souls of their ancestors as they place offerings on altars created by nature's hand. These chattering chimps are the guardians of this holy place and are worshipped both for their intelligence and for being the living symbols of divine presence. Their serene natural habitat was taboo, at least for curious intruding foreigners. In the morning hours, one can still feel a touch of the Supreme Being and its joyous spirit. But then, suddenly the serene quiet is swept away, and most of the clever creatures and their families angrily retreat from sight. Here they come, and they are just the first of the chattering intruders. More often than not, their outlandish apparel is less than appropriate for such a sacred place. Several of the male monkeys try to make this point clear to some of these inappropriately dressed trespassers. But, as in most confrontations of this kind, neither party is understood by the other. The only ones bothered by the dress code violation seem to be the inhabitants of the sacred monkey forest, and they return the stares just as thoughtfully as they are given, although their behavior merits higher grades than those of their overly persistent human counterparts. Mama Monkey and her offspring escape from the troublesome situation, which gives further evidence of the pride and intelligence of these animals.
What you see here isn't an amusing performance for bathers on the beach, but a funeral procession on Bali. Many vacationers from a multitude of Western countries consider these wakes a welcome alternative to their daily routines. Come and see a fascinating cremation over a funeral pyre. Your package deal includes bus fare and admission to this once-in-a-lifetime event. Return with the best snapshots ever. And come they do, in hordes. Wearing their mandatory shorts, bikinis, netted t-shirts, and mail-order fashions, they uninhibitedly gawk at the passing mourners and the men from the village, who traditionally wrap their dead in clean white sheets and carry them to the ceremony on a wooden stretcher where the sorrow-filled relatives wait. Sunburn and dysentery won't even hold back these thrill-seekers from taking part in such an exotic spectacle. They mingle with the grieving members of the community, pushing and shoving to get a peek at the passing corpse. Some can't even resist the urge to hold their cameras only inches from it to get that sacred snapshot. Even the tear-streaked faces will later decorate their souvenir photo albums. These disrespectful tourists would never dream of exhibiting such tastelessness at a funeral in their native country. But here, within this foreign paradise, no holds are barred. There is no such thing as an embarrassing situation, no fear of rumors making the rounds at a later date. They are unabashed. Not even the roaring flames can drown out the multitude of clicks or the sounds of cameras being loaded. The fire burns on, but not a thought is wasted on the meaning of death. Only the spectacular sensation of witnessing an open-air cremation.
Could it be possible that on this island of ancestral worship and death-oriented cults, some customs, events, or occurrences are still taboo? We'll try to answer this question as we take you on a trip through a maze of exotic Asian secrets and mysteries. But for the moment, let's remain on Bali.
A tiny village in the heart of the country. Far off from the customary tourist routes, there prevails a traditional lifestyle. Imitated dances or religious ceremonies as performed for visitors near Bali's shores are unknown in these parts. Missing seem to be the professionals, hawking their cultural wares on homemade stages for all to see, and as often as it pleases. Here, the rituals are real and have been handed down over the ages to coincide with their mysterious religious beliefs and spiritualism as practiced by nature-worshipping natives around the world. These private rites are closed to all outsiders. Their biggest fear is the poverty existing outside their circles, those who would use their religion for capital gain. And so the ceremony is announced using a large wooden gong, and the inhabitants in the area are called to the barong, one of the numerous holidays celebrated on Bali during which one of the most brutal games known to the natives developed. It starts as an argument between good and bad, the black and white magic called barong and rangda. Men act out these creatures. The opposite magical powers clash and fight for figures symbolizing man's existence, and the verbal assault grows into a frightful battle because the barong is aided by the carriers of the Kree's dagger. Ranga, though, reverses the attack by using her demonic powers. The warriors turn their daggers on themselves and in a hypnotic trance attempt to kill themselves or the others. this ritual, which we were allowed to film only after long and tedious negotiations, the participants reach a state of impenetrable ecstasy. The uneducated eye sees the warriors in a precariously dangerous situation as the rites get wilder and wilder. The barong is said to give them the power of invulnerability, no matter what fashion of attack. How this state of mind is achieved can't be explained, other than to say that magic really is involved. Should it come to be that someone is seriously injured, it is blamed on improper training or that the stricken person was not pure. In this case, the Kree's dagger can wound his body, as witnessed in this situation. It is no wonder that this form of the barong kabet is officially prohibited. The severely drained dancers are brought out of their trance by sprinkles of holy water, and temple guards treat the wounded with herbal medicine. The spilled blood, in turn, is used as an offering to appease the evil spirits.
Goalava, where offerings are brought to satisfy the as yet unredeemed souls. Goalava, the frightening bat caves. Here is the place to overcome our earthly feeling of guilt as we make our way toward the kingdom of light. As far as the eye can see, the entire ceiling of the cave is covered with the leather-winged creatures, hundreds of thousands of them, giving the impression that the ceiling is alive. The unusual, unaccustomed sweet smell of inch-deep excrement greets visitors from afar. Europeans tend to stay away from this place because of their inherent fear of these animals. Maybe this feeling goes back to the legends of vampires in cold, dreary castles, or the horror stories about Count Dracula and his clan of bloodsuckers. The demonic, it seems, is something our sensitive minds have more than a little trouble coping with. Not everyone will admit it, but we've all been confronted with it at one time or another.
Asia's overpopulated cities shock outsiders because of their seeming lack of social values and their openly visible contrasting living conditions. An enormous conglomerate of human weakness and passion, struggling between yesterday and tomorrow. Manila, the Philippine metropolis, is a perfect example of the problematic world opinion such a city brings with it. Spanking new storefronts versus the picturesque poor side of town, home of the squatters, those patient slum inhabitants that make up 1/3 of all those existing here. Many visitors love these parts just as much as Chinatown and the colorful markets, plus the romantic corners of Tondo with its masses of huts. Although these people own nothing and in most cases have hordes of children, it's pleasant to note that starvation and mental depression in such a hopeless situation is almost non-existent. It seems as if everyone has made some mystic deal with fate. Manila. The stranger is amazed at the colorfully painted convertible minibuses. The jeepney, main form of transport and income for the Filipinos. 9 out of